Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to the very first of what I hope will be a very long series here on my channel called Throwback Thursday. I have a ton of palettes that I've only opened and used one time, or I haven't even opened and used at all. And this is the opportunity to dive into those older palettes that might not have come out last week or the week before. That way we have the chance to use them a little more in depth and get a better feel for the color stories and the way the palettes work. So if you'd like to jump in this first episode of this series and see what palette has been chosen for the first ever Throwback Thursday, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. So for today's Throwback Thursday, we're going to be using the Makeup Institute Mixology Nude Palette, the Happy Hour Edition. I actually just won this palette in a giveaway from one of my friends on Twitter. Her name is Hillarie, or Hills Have Eyeshadow instead of the Hills Have Eyes. Super cute. I'll leave her profile link down below. She is an amazing person, and I love that she added in this little palette within the giveaway. It's super cute, and I'm ready to show you guys and play with it. First of all, though, this packaging is so pretty. That looks like foiled reflective splashing molten lava or something. Or just a bunch of dirt, I don't know. But it's really pretty and shiny and shimmery. And this is a 24 pan eyeshadow palette. It's massive. And here is what it looks like. Definitely nude, for sure nude, but we still have some depth and some richness to it. We've got more of the mauvey purpley tones. We've got a little bit of the warmer, more auburny tones, some lighter and some deeper. So it's pretty versatile looking. I'm excited. And before I go in with any of the eyeshadow, I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and prime my eyes using my Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas Eye Base in the shade Medium. I think I'm gonna start with using this Real Techniques base shadow brush and go into the shade Red Wine. That just looks like a gorgeous red. It's so deep and mahogany-y that I think it'll look really great, especially for a fall time look. And we are for sure getting into fall time. And with this shade, I'm just gonna start applying it all over the crease so that I can kind of make the whole look appear like a red, or like a burgundy, a maroon. Have you guys ever used any of the Makeup Institute products? I think this is the first and only product I've ever tried from them. So if you have tried them, let me know what you guys think. How do you like the formula? How do you like the color stories? Is it a brand worth investing in myself? That is a beautiful red. It is the perfect maroon. It's not got a whole bunch of purple in it. It's really pretty. With Red Wine applied everywhere in the outer portion of the crease, and now I'm gonna use this Morphe M505 brush and go in with Skinny Margarita right here. And since it's more of almost like a gray with just a slight bit of pink to it, I think that'll be perfect right for the inner crease portion. That way it'll still make this inner portion a little bit more muted and not so red, but it'll still tie in with the look. Mainly, as long as I avoid the bright pink that a bunch of these other shades would have made, I'm okay. These shades apply and blend so perfectly, or at least so far. Granted, I've only gone in with 2 shades, so I can't really be a fair judge, but so far so good. Now with that built up a little bit, instead of having this really sharp circular line all the way around, I'm gonna just use the same brush since it's got a really sharp point to it, and go right on those edges and just start pressing and using circular motions to blend it out. That way it'll be fluffy, soft, and we won't have that hard line all the way around. I've gotten the gray pink, the grink, blended out as well as I can, I think. Now I'm going to use this Morphe M518 brush. I'm not going to add any pigment to the brush, and I'm going to blend out this dark red. Typically, I would go in with one of the lighter shades in the palette to blend out this shade, maybe even the shade I used in the inner portion of the crease, but I don't want it to turn pink. I just want it to go from the red to my skin tone without changing color, if possible. So I'm going to try it with an empty brush and just see if I can buff it out that way. You know what? I actually think that that sort of works. It didn't make it look too pink. It did look a little pink. It does kind of blend out to be sort of pinky-ish, but not nearly as pink as what it would have looked if I would have added another color, especially with a little bit of white in it. So I'm happy with that blend. It's very soft, very beautiful, and I love how I'm getting zero patchiness. None at all. No patches, no empty spots, no weird spot. Yay! I definitely like to deepen things up at this point, so I'm going to use my Morphe X Jeffree Star JS6 brush. It's a little wider, fluffy brush, and I'm going to use the shade Espresso Martini. I'm just going in with all the martinis today. And since Espresso Martini is our deepest shade, it's going to go right in the crease and only in the crease. Of course, I'll blend it out and up a little bit, but just to give it some definition, not to blow out the shade anymore. We are now to the point where it's time to use some shimmers, and I'm just realizing now that I'm like needing some shimmer that this palette only has 4 shimmer shades in it. So we've got Champagne. That's one of those kind of shades that's gonna go with literally everything. That is beautiful. Oh yeah. Sex on the Beach. This is very winey, if you will. It's a gorgeous maroon red with maybe orangey pink reflect, something like that. Still very beautiful though. Then Hot Toddy, that's our more bronzy brown shimmer. And then I think just about my favorite shade in the palette, probably the one I'm gonna use today, Orgasm. It's a stunning duochrome. Looks like a solid pink, but then all of the reflect in it from, I guess, the glitter and the foil is blue, pink, purple, and slightly yellow. So we got a lot of reflective tones, if you will. Oh, I think there's one more shimmer shade. Tequila Sunrise is what this shade is called, and it's more of an orangey version. It's more of like our sunset kind of color. Ugh, and that's that one. Sorry, that swatch was terrible. Yeah, definitely more of like a red, deep kind of terracotta-y kind of color. Now this Orgasm shade is chunky, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick it up with a flat brush, but I'm gonna try and we're gonna see what happens. Worst case, we have to stop and go in with the ring finger. But first I'm gonna try this Morphe flat brush. It's from the 39L Hit the Lights collection. Trying to pick it up, it's not picking up at all. Really, it's just like putting a brush in like a jelly shadow. It's just pressing and squishing. And I'm picking up just a tiny little bit of the flakes, really. But I'll see if the flakes stick. Why not? Oh, wow, they do stick quite well. So I can see that it stuck the pink down, which is the actual base, like the shade itself. But mainly it just took all the glitter off the surface of the shadow and stuck the glitter on. So I am gonna go in with the ring finger. Ooh, see that? That is what I want that to look like. Okay, here we go. And press. Oh, yes. It's so neat too, because half of my eye, from this angle anyway, is pink and the other half is blue. It looks like I just did like a split. But on the monitor, it just looks like a silver almost, or like a silvery blue. Oh, that's so beautiful. Now let's try to just clean up these edges a little bit. So I'm gonna take the same brush and pull what I've applied down to the inner corner so it's nice and sharp. Okay, I'm very quickly discovering that if you want the shadow to perform like an opaque layer on your eye rather than just a topper kind of shadow, definitely use an eyeshadow base or a glitter base, something sticky and tacky that you can get it to pack down on. I did the best I could with just the brush though, so now I'm gonna take the JS6 again and just run this brush, not adding any new pigment, right along my crease area just to clean up some of that glitter that fell out of the range of my lid and get it out of the way, just so it'll clean everything up. I'm also going to take a little bit of that Espresso Martini shade and just go ahead and pull it down onto the outer corner of the lid just to give me a little bit of definition on the outside as well. I was going to go in and try to get rid of all of the blue glitter that's kind of up in the crease, but I sort of like it. When I turn, there's just a slight glint of glitter. Yeah, you can see it up there. It's just a little bit of a haze of glitter, but I'm enjoying it. And I don't think I'd be able to get it off anyway, no matter what I did. Yeah, that's not coming off at all. Good news! So if you don't want it everywhere, also use a glitter glue. Now I'm going to finish this off with a brow bone highlight. I'm going to use the other Hit the Lights collection brush, this purple one, but it's a teeny tiny little flat brush, like just barely. And I'm going to use the shade Champagne. You know I couldn't stay out of this shade, I just had to pick it. And that's going to be my brow bone highlight. So I like to get it applied first to where we've got that really intense, beautiful sheen. Then I flip the brush over and starting at my arch of my brow, I just start pulling it out and over the other shade underneath it. That way it's still applying a little bit of shimmer onto the red and pulling it down, but it's also blending the shade underneath it with it. It's like 2-for-1 blending. And then last, just to finesse things a little bit, I'm gonna take the same Morphe 518 I used earlier just to blend everything. Gonna clean the pigment off my color switch just a little bit, and then just brush the clean brush along those edges. It just helps make the shimmer not look so disconnected and on top of the previous pigment. Makes it look like they blend in together and they're meant to be that way instead. It's subtle and a little thing that you wouldn't think would make that much of a difference, but really does in the overall look. I just love it when there's shimmer everywhere. That makes my heart so happy. So now that I feel like I am reflective enough, I'm gonna go ahead and take my makeup wipe and clean up all of this extra glitter and clean up these edges, make them look nice and sharp and beautiful. And I'm gonna go ahead and do all of my face makeup so that we can come back and finish off the lower lash line. So give me just a minute and I'll be right back again. We are now back with just the lower lash line left, and I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Usually I just carry my crease down and around in my lower lash line, but I'm gonna go out on a ledge today and we're gonna start with this Ulta Beauty X Harry Potter The Stone brush. It's a little bit wider, and I'm gonna use the shade Screwdriver. It's really bright, a beautiful yellow. And I'm gonna start just applying a light dusting of this shade over the inner portion of my lower lash line. Ooh, that's pretty, even with just a little bit. Okay, that yellow built up super fast. It's not super obvious on camera, but in real life, it's very yellow. Now, since my previous J6 brush is definitely purple and not brown anymore, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to this L'Oreal Los Angeles L19 brush and go back into the shade Espresso Martini that I used earlier in the crease as my darkest shade, and go ahead and just connect my outer crease into my lower lash line using this shade. Since it's primarily what looks like a brown, oh no, it's just a purple. Okay, well it should turn into a brown once it starts blending with that yellow, hopefully. Okay, I'm not mad at that at all. But I need to use the yellow brush again and just pull some of this yellow back into this purple. Tone down that purple just a little bit, at least on the middle. Ow, that is a really interesting color. It's not purple, but it's not red, but it's not yellow. I think I like it so much, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the yellow all the way around at the bottom of this purple and just kind of blend out the purple with that yellow. The shade's just too gorgeous not to have everywhere a little bit. I think that is quite satisfactory. Now, just as a cute little finishing touch, I'm gonna use this Morphe X Madison Beer. This one, pointed, looks like a crease brush, but I'm gonna use it as an inner corner highlight brush. And I'm gonna use the shade Champagne, and it's gonna be my inner corner glow. Do you see how beautiful that is? Wow, that's pretty amazing. I pushed pretty hard into the pan. I mean, there's a lot of shadow that broke up on top of it, which I did intentionally so that I could really get this super intense, but then I was just gonna clean off all of the fallout that fell because I figured there'd be a lot. There's really not a lot though. Really hardly any. Now let's see if it'll just dust away. No. Oh yeah, it does, okay. I have to press some of it into the skin though, because it didn't all go away. But most of it did. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Just left with that blinding inner corner highlight and no fallout. So at this point, give me like 3 seconds. I'm gonna go off camera and apply my Benefit Roller Lash Mascara to my lower lashes as well, and then I'll come right back to give my final thoughts on the Makeup Institute Mixology palette. What do you guys think of the Makeup Institute Mixology Nude Palette Happy Hour Edition? Based on the look I got from it, I thoroughly enjoyed this palette. Not only getting to know the Makeup Institute formula, which is very nice, might I say. The mattes blend beautifully, smoothly into each other well, and the shimmers are metallic, bold, and the single duochrome in this palette is definitely duochromy. Very, very much fallout though, so if you worry about that, do your eyes first for sure. Would definitely recommend some kind of glitter glue or at least a tacky eyeshadow primer underneath before you go with the duochrome, just so you don't get all of that fallout underneath the eyes. But I can say that it covered up very well under my eyes. I can't see any of the little pieces of glitter, so my concealer did a good enough job covering it up where you can't tell. So if you don't get rid of all of it, not to fear, you're not gonna see too much of it left. And based on the color story, for the fact that I only used 3 or 4 matte shades, you're gonna get a lot of variety out of this palette. If you have this palette and have been using this palette, I bet you have some kind of look every day that doesn't look like the one you did before. I mean, there's so many more directions I could have taken this look rather than purple. I didn't mean to do purple. I was going for like Merlot red, but you see where we got to, and I'm okay with it. I still love it. It's my favorite. I just didn't mean to go that direction again, yet here we are. Thank you so much again, Hillarie, for sending this palette. I'm so happy to have gotten to play with it and create such a gorgeous look with it. I'm definitely excited to be able to jump in again and play with shades more like Dirty Martini here and Sangria down here, maybe a little bit of Jaeger Bomb, if you will. Possibly some Cuba Libre. Just some of those really dusty, neutral, smoky eye kind of colors. I always love a good neutral smoky eye, and it's definitely possible with this palette. I think Mixology was a great theme for the palette, not only because all of the names are themed like mixed alcoholic beverages, but also because the palette itself is a true mixology palette for neutrals. And that's just a lot of fun to me. Speaking of a lot of fun to me, I also hope this was a lot of fun for you. If you enjoyed taking it back a little bit and grabbing a not so new palette to create a look with, don't forget to leave me a like down below. Just to let me know you enjoyed it. You know, it gives me a fair idea of what you guys like to see so that I know what to create. I look forward to continuing this series with you guys. Let me know what your votes are for Throwback Thursday. What palettes do you want to see featured within this series? Throw down your brands, throw down your preferences, let me know what you guys think. And perhaps we'll see one of your recommendations in a Throwback Thursday. With that being said, I had so much fun hanging out with you guys, and like I said before, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see any of my looks, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, then please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and to never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.